It is Thursday. RawMikeRichards.com, broadcasting live from the DKI studios in downtown Toronto, 234 King Street East out of the Pacific Junction Hotel. Coming up today, maybe we'll find a little resolve on all the spouting off about a guy wearing no pants who makes his way onto the BC Lions football field in the Canadian Football League game. And there are those claiming that there should be some sort of legal action taken against the player, which is just, I guess that's the way society is. So we'll take a look at different sports around the world and see how they have dealt with this. This is not unique. We've seen people on the ice, on a pitch, and for the most part, what the result has been, but there's actually a barrister who makes all the sense in the world, and when you hear him give his explanation on what should happen, it's what should happen. I don't know why this is even, Dave, an argument, but this is the society we live in. Everyone has to be special. Everyone have to lean over for even those that are wrongdoers. No, you do wrong, this is what happens. And we'll get some clarification on that. Also, award winners, Dave, in spectacular fashion.
Yes. Actually, you know what? It wasn't a bad show. I watched probably half of it because I was channel surfing and so forth. But Darcy Oak, Scott Oak's son, who's an illusionist, was one of the hosts of the show. He was actually pretty good. Some of the tricks he came out and he brought some of the players out. I thought it was pretty decent.
See, because as you know, most of the time, I'm not a magic guy.
No, because some of the hosts they've had in the past, like when they bring in the cheese ball host or hostesses that have nothing to do with hockey or know nothing, or
they just think it's a draw.
Yeah,
right.
They mispronounce every single player. Anye Kopati. Yeah, it's like no, it's actually Anje Kopati. You know what I mean? Like you can tell if somebody watches hockey or not probably within the first 30 seconds of a conversation.
Well, you know, I like Def Leppard, but when didn't they put the Stanley Cup upside down?
Upside down, yes. It's like Joe Elliott.
Yeah, because they don't know. That's like I don't know. The Arkells go over and play the Premiership awards, and then they take the Prem Cup and they hand it to someone upside down. I'm sure that'd go over big.
Very.
I don't think we're just being pissy. I just think that when you can't sing a national anthem,
bingo,
that is the biggest insult of all time. And look, you got to know these people weren't told that minute that they were singing it. They've been practicing this thing, or should have been, for a very long period of time. And so if they say, well, Mike, you got to sing the national anthem for Morocco. But you got to know that I'm working on that thing every second of that year, or the 6 months or 8 months or whatever. I'm sure it's a long period of time. And to go on and then not know it is bad.
Bingo.
And we've seen so many people. Hey, Bryan Adams did it with the Canadian national anthem at that All-Star game.
Yep. Yeah, he did actually. That's right.
I
forgot about that.
There's been a bunch of them that are. It's a little surprising how they mess up. We'll get to, because we actually have an example of a bit of a national anthem goof. But yesterday, the story that Liam McGuire told about Yvonne Conway. See, I think in this world where these kinds of stories are so rare, that it should have had way more views. It should have made. This is the thing that should, if anything's going to go viral, it should be one of these things, because it's a great story. It's a story about heart. It's a story about living your life to benefit humanity. And people say, well, he was a hockey player. But what he did for that family, Guy Lafleur, was, Dave, like, those who listened to it said they got goosebumps. And
yes.
That's what you said yesterday for yourself.
Yeah, it was an amazing story. It's one of those stories where, you know, when we talk about Guy Lafleur 5, 10, 15 years down the line, 20 years down the line, it's another memory of Guy Lafleur.
See, that might,
and I wasn't even part of it.
I know. Dave, I feel the same way. I think that might even be my first memory, and then all the hockey.
Yeah. It's like, tell me something about Guy Lafleur. I got a great story for you.
Here's what you need to know, right? I agree 100%. And it didn't. You know, it's just, I guess, what people want to hear, what they want to see. But for those who did, here's a tweet from a guy named Mike Schroeder. He said, "My God, I love today's show. Well done to you all. It gave me goosebumps. Dan Kelly is also one of my favorite play-by-voice of all time. Thank you so much, because we had so much in yesterday and so many great memories that it was. That was of the shows that we've done. And look, I kind of like them all. Even Chris May. Chris May, who's our weather guy on the national network.
We got to invite him on here.
He's a great guy.
But he probably works right now, doesn't he? Doesn't he work in the mornings?
Yeah, works. I'm not sure exactly what. Yeah, like we do.
Works.
Yeah, like we do. And of course, the last one it was Devlin's. Obviously, Devlin's favorite weather girl. Yet another Romanian, and we burned him. He said, "Yeah, you can't do this, May. You're out. The network sees this. See you later." And he goes, "Man." He goes, "I was crying. You burn." He goes, "That's a yellow." What did he say? Yellow card for Richards on that one.
Well, that's not bad. That's only a foul.
Yeah, I said,
you're still in the game.
I said, well, I'll make it up with an excellent dinner. How about that? But, yesterday's show was excellent. We had so many great moments from Guy Lafleur that I had to go to this, and I remembered this as a kid. It's SCTV. It's Joe Flaherty and John Candy doing a fake ad for a fake cereal. And this goes back in the day. And it is hysterical to me. This is one of the funniest things because Joe Flaherty's Guy Lafleur, and his head kind of looks like him a little bit. And then John Candy does this thing when he's imitating Daryl Sittler. Because if you talk to Daryl, which we have, Dave, on the show many times, his front lip kind of stays really tight to his over his front teeth. And get a load of John Candy being Daryl Sittler for this ad. Classic SCTV. Property of Second City Television, I'm assuming, but really owned by the whole world.
I use a Daryl Sittler hockey stick.
I use a Daryl Sittler hockey stick.
Cut! Take two. I'm Guy Lafleur.
I'm Daryl Sittler.
And I use a Daryl Sittler hockey stick.
I use a Guy Lafleur hockey stick. Hey, Guy, how about some cornerbacks, eh?
All right, sure thing, Daryl. Oh, boy.
Cornerbacks.
Good, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Real malt flavor.
Smells good, too. Well, I can't do these things. Hard. I'm sorry. They're hard on my gums.
You lose your plate, Daryl?
Yeah, I lost my plate in Boston.
You lost your dentures in Boston. Why don't you push it down with some milk and push it into your puss? That's right. Cornerbacks, take three. I'm Guy Lafleur.
I'm Daryl Sittler.
And I use a Daryl Sittler hockey stick.
I use a Guy Lafleur hockey stick. Hey, Guy, how about some cornerbacks, eh?
An excellent idea.
All right, eh?
Let's try some of this. Oh, it looks yumbo.
Sure is. Smells so good, too. See what's going on. It's got pour de sang. Some French. I don't speak French. I'm sorry.
What's your problem? Look at it in English. It's on English.
What the hell's it got two languages on it for crying out loud? I only speak English.
Because it's a bilingual country.
It is not bull, my friend. One language, one goddamn song. God save Queen.
Take four. Hi, I'm Guy Lafleur.
I'm Daryl Sittler.
And I use a Daryl Sittler hockey stick.
Use a Guy Lafleur hockey stick. Hey, Guy, wants the cornerbacks?
Yeah, sure thing, Daryl. Hey, this stuff looks okay, huh?
Yeah, sure does.
Boy, I could try some malt flavor and everything.
Want some Pepsi Cola with it?
That's supposed to be, Daryl.
Oh, come on, let's enjoy.
Oh, there it is. Do you want some Pepsi Cola with that? Oh, classic stuff. You're watching RawMikeRichards.com and, of course, on the dedicated YouTube site. We appreciate that. We kind of go up day by day. It's slow, but we're small, and we're also slow. So we appreciate that. Last night, the huge award show. I mean, I appreciate it because I thought there were some good choices. I thought there were some obvious choices as well. But, last night, they celebrate the best of what the NHL has. Were there any of them, as far as you're concerned, like Jack Adams? I mean, how do you not go with Gerard Gallant?
Yeah, he probably won it in December.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what else. I mean,
and there's a lot of nice choices too.
Look, Barry Trotz. How do you can't deny what he did with that team, but still, that's remarkable what he did.
And we should tell everybody too, if you don't know this yet, the awards too. Voting and tabulation stopped at the last game of the regular season. So, and I was one of them, so don't get me wrong, but when Pekka Rinne won the Vezina Trophy, and most people had snickers over what he did against the Jets in Game 7, that was already, the vote was already tabulated way prior to that, so he wasn't judged on that crap performance against the Winnipeg Jets in Game 7.
Yeah, because people are like, yeah, nice.
Yeah.
And that's, again.
Enjoy your award.
Hart Trophy, Taylor Hall.
Yeah. As you know what, nice story there, too. First ever New Jersey Devil to win that award, and considering that Martin Brodeur was part of that organization forever, that's definitely telling you something right there. So this guy was heads and tails the most valuable player to his team. You look at the point separation between him and the number 2 position and what he meant to that team when he was in the lineup, when he was out of the lineup, when he actually tabulated multi-points and what their record was. As far as value to the team, if that's the definition, Taylor Hall was the winner yesterday.
And that's what it is, the most valuable player to your team.
Yeah. And
apparently it was one of the closest they've had in
because a lot of people will sit there and say, he's the most valuable player in the league, right? Over Connor McDavid and Sidney Crosby. Well, no, we're not saying that he's better than, Connor and Sidney. But value to the team is where the definition kind of weeds out every other thing, because Connor McDavid led the Oilers to an 11th place finish, and Sidney Crosby was part of a star-studded cast and had another great year and probably should have been, higher on that balloting, but that's the way it works. Taylor Hall won the award. I
wonder, as years go by, do you start to lose the understanding of what the original trophy was supposed to be for? So when you win the Masterton, so it's best exemplifies the qualities of perseverance, sportsmanship, and dedication to hockey. It was Brian Boyle of the Devils.
Yes.
And I just wonder, is it starting to feel like the you remember was the citizenship award that some kids got in school? It's like, who's that? Well, he never missed a day. He was always on time. It starts to feel a little bit like that, but I mean, when you know the story of the reason why those trophies are named after them, that would be completely unfair. And yet, there's Brian Boyle, and everyone's like, yeah, how many goals did he score?
Yeah. No,
it is because people are a little bit like that. But what do you think about the Masterton? I mean, as I said, I think it used to mean more.
I think it did, and now, and this is not to be looked at as offensive, but now they look at the player that has that trial or tribulation. For example, he fought cancer, right? So it's almost like, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but if there's a person that gets cancer next year and fights back to play in the NHL and contribute and start up a charity, which is fantastic, and I hope everybody does that, well, odds are that he's going to win that award just because of that, and that's what the trophy's kind of turned out to be.
I see. So in the NHL, you get cancer, you get an award, you work for Bell, you lose your job. Huh. The Lady Bing.
Powerful but true. You're right. You're right. Exactly.
William Karlsson. It doesn't matter. We get with the lady. That's another sportsman, gentlemanly player. That was to me it was always like the Dave Keon Award.
Correct.
But anything that goes the Golden Knights' way, I'm fine with it.
And you know what? There's a lot of Golden Knights that won yesterday. They got the best top general manager, top coach. William Karlsson got the Lady Bing. Derek England got
the leadership. Mark Messier.
Yep. So it was a lot of Vegas Golden Knight award ceremony yesterday, and it was in Vegas as well. So they actually had a pretty good crowd as far as participation from the crowd. It actually looked like they were more into it than they regularly have been. So that's kind of nice too. I hope they move this award show a little more often. Like I remember when it was here in Toronto about 10 years ago, and it was kind of fun having it in the city, and I think they should move it around. And it's I'll have to dig it up one day for you. Ovi and a couple players were at Spice Route on King West, and I happened to be there with a whole bunch of players, so we got a lot of candid shots of Ovi and us drinking at the Spice Route, which was kind of cool.
It is cool.
Middle of June, nice weather. We're having looks like a nice day today again, and that's what it was at that time. So you hope it kind of moves around now that Vegas actually has a team. And now it's like, okay, well, now it's time to start moving it around.
Especially in some of the, as you said, the original six. So Toronto, Montreal would be fabulous.
Sure it would.
A Boston, a Chicago.
Yes.
You want to pump up things in Detroit? I'd put it in Detroit. I got no problem putting it in Detroit, any of those things. So Matthew Barzal, the Islanders, is it? Rookie of the Year. You comfortable with that one?
I'm okay with that one completely because I think it's. I think it was a runaway win. I think this was locked in for a while. This guy was heads and tails above. The only problem I have with it is Clayton Keller finished third, and there's no way Clayton Keller was the third best Rookie of the Year. It was Kyle Connor, the Winnipeg Jets, who led all NHL rookie scores in goal scoring. First line player. His team went almost to a conference final, or past that, I should say. But whatever, they gave it to Clayton Keller of the Coyotes. He finished third in the balloting behind Brock Besser of the Canucks. Another good story. Funny thing about Besser too, I don't know if you guys saw it in the middle of the show. They were called up on stage to do a magic trick. Dude wouldn't leave his hand, like couldn't keep his hands out of his pants when he walked up on stage. So he walks up on stage with both hands in his pants. He's the only one sitting there like that. And he kind of sat there the entire time, and it looked so awkward. The other thing, fashion tip, was there any NHL stars wearing socks yesterday? Because I saw
we've gone through
the
that
sockless look basically the entire show, and also was there a flood in Vegas yesterday? Because I know it's the style, but
it looks stupid.
The pant leg looked like it was this much above the ankle.
Please.
Which I know people sit there and say it's the look. It's like, well, I'm not hemming my suits to get in touch with 2018, because eventually somebody's going to knock some sense into this and get it down to where it's supposed to be.
And I get a little nervous now. If you start putting about hands down your pants, then all I keep thinking about is that the German
manager,
and it just because. And look, I've seen my son start. Jordan goes, "Did you see that?" I said, "Look, I've seen him about 20 different ones, and all of them make me sick to my stomach. I don't even want to think about it." Victor Hedman, stud. Tampa Bay Lightning gets the Norris. The King Clancy goes to the Sedin twins. Awarded to the player who best. So pick one of them.
Yeah.
Just pick one of them. Why do you just because they're twins, how come they get everything together? It's weird. It's freaky. It's like, when you're in grade 2 and there's Timmy and Tommy and they got to be in the same class. But Timmy and Tommy aren't adjoined. Neither are these guys. And everything shouldn't, we can't trade them. They got to retire at the same time. Are these Hall of Fame twins? Are they both getting in? Because you know what? I'm going to talk to Lanny. Lanny, when you phone, make sure both of them there and just go, congratulations, Daniel, and goodbye. What did he didn't say me? No, just Daniel. Sorry, Frederick.
Or Henrik.
I'm sick. Or Henrik, sorry, Frederick. Henrik.
That's the third brother that was
there probably is one, and he's like the bitter one, William Jennings goes to Jonathan Quick. That's the goaltender who played 25 games or more for the team with the fewest goals against. Yeah. Jonathan Quick is on. To me,
Jonathan Quick was the only reason the Kings actually were in that series against Vegas. I know they were swept and they lost every single game, basically 2-1 or 2-0. If Jonathan Quick wasn't in the Kings' net, it probably would have been like 6-1 every game, 7-2, stuff like that. So, but he had a really good regular season, and a reason why the Kings actually made the playoffs.
Connor McDavid, the Ted Lindsay Award.
Yes, and that is voted on by the players. I look at that award as the most important award out of all of them.
It's the one I'd want to win.
Yes. You have the NHL itself voting on who they think the player that they played against during the regular season is the best player on the ice. And get ready, whatever your position it's called, the guy that stencils out the names, because you could probably make Connor McDavid a Ted Lindsay Award winner for the next decade. His chances are that's what's going to happen.
Because literally, this is like a down year.
Yes.
This is a down year. He gets one because the team was garbage. Art Ross goes to, we said that. Art Ross goes to Connor
McDavid.
Yeah. And then Ovechkin gets the Rocket Richard Trophy.
Yeah, that was already predetermined.
Just math.
Yeah,
at that point.
Exactly. Whoever finishes with the most goals during the regular season. I wanted to bring up one more thing before we kind of move on from that, from Taylor Hall winning the award. Just a shout out to the Edmonton Oilers, who traded Taylor Hall to the New Jersey Devils.
Yeah.
Adam Larson last year had 4 goals and 9 assists, and he was a steady third or fourth defenseman on the team. So it's not like you didn't get anything back for Taylor Hall. You got a defenseman that logged some minutes, and the New Jersey Devils got the league's most valuable player. So, I mean, everybody wins in that situation, Mike.
Kind
of. You know what? It's you like those trades that both teams win. And Adam Larson going to the Oilers for MVP, Hart Trophy winner, Taylor Hall to the Devils was almost a fair shakedown.
It's interesting as this morning that is the only perspective you're going to hear that actually is saying that this morning. I think that's what they called sarcasm. I'm unsure, but I think that's what it was. But there's your, I guess, so that's done. Entry draft, July 1st. And
entry draft starts this weekend.
Yeah.
So, a lot of people sit there and go hiccup. Oh, no, it's tomorrow.
No, it's right away. In Dallas this year?
And it's not crazy. Like, everybody knows Rasmus Dahlin will go number 1 to the Buffalo Sabres. The players itself, there's a couple nice players in the first 5, 6, 7 picks, and I'm sure there's going to be gems throughout that we're going to hear about in 3 years, and people are going to sit there and say, I remember that. And no, you didn't remember that. The thing that I'm looking forward to this weekend, Mike, outside of the draft and the players having their graduation, as we like to call it.
It truly is.
Because it really is with the parents and family, and it's a time of their life that they'll never forget. This weekend will be more about who gets traded.
Yeah.
What happens as far as transactions? Because guess what? Open season has already started. The Canadians got in on it. I wonder what happens with a guy like Erik Karlsson. The Sens obviously don't want to trade, but does something happen? Does John Tavares say finally to the Islanders that, no, I am officially headed to free agency? A lot can happen over this weekend. And when it involves the draft and when it involves those top picks, and it's like, okay, we'll package our guys plus that top pick to get that. Something could happen this weekend. That's what I'm looking forward to. The draft's nice. The players are nice. That's fine. Nothing really to talk about there. It's the other stuff that we can't predict.
No, and it's not an isolated event now. I mean, you can't separate, as you said, just having that nice thing and year first, year second, here's the hat, here's the cap. And now it's like, okay, fine. But who's going to wear what? The GMs are talking to each other. They're on their phones because July 1st is right there. And I happen to think that, a lot of times we go, free agent frenzy, and it's a frenzy. Look out. And then, like, really nothing. No. I think it's, we always try to predict, and sometimes you think it's going to be busy and it's not, but I can't see. There are certain teams that just got to make some moves.
Oh, sure.
And I think if you're Calgary, if you're Brad Treliving, so there's Bill Peters coming in there, regardless of what they have to do something. I'm sure there are teams, I think, still like themselves that have to address goaltending. Mike Smith had a nice beginning of the year until he gets hurt.
Yeah.
And then it's a scramble. And look at the teams that probably have to address issues like that. That's why I wonder, do you think a Garrett Sparks is a commodity? Because, and again, could you, if you're another team looking, going, look, this guy's good enough he should be able to step in. Is he good enough for us to be a part of our organization? Is he a movable piece in terms of other teams? Because you never get the return on goaltending. No. Like, you just don't.
And with the Leafs actually signing Calvin Pickard yesterday to a 1-year deal at NHL money, or at least an NHL contract, even if he plays in the minors. So he's going to make $800,000 no matter where he goes. That's 4 goaltenders that have NHL experience. 4. You carry 2, you play 1. Something's got to give here, right?
That's
Something's
got
to give.
Because look, would you like to have Frederick and then backed up by Garrett Sparks? Yeah, it's a great one too. It's a great one too.
Sure it is.
And then you're able to probably rest Freddie Anderson a little more because you know that Garrett will be able to take that workload. So that's got to be worth. It's got to be worth something to someone else. The question is, what is that worth? What is the worth out there? Because the Leafs will still be looking like everybody else to find a stud guy on the blue line.
And going back to Sparks for a second, when you look at him, Mike, there's going to be the 30 other NHL teams that sit there and go, okay, the NHL has this. The best goaltender outside of the league's best, the world's best league is Garrett Sparks. Surely you're knocking on the door of the Maple Leafs saying, what is it going to take to bring this guy in? Because the number 1 outside of the league is good enough to play somewhere in the league. If it's not with the Maple Leafs, which I don't know where the Leafs are going on this, it's surely good enough. Like you can't tell me that Garrett Sparks can't go to Phoenix or the New York Islanders or a team like that and at least compete for a starter's position, or go to another organization where there is a backup opportunity. Philip Grubauer in Washington is obviously going to be leaving the Capitals. They need a quality backup that's going to be able to go in there and actually, spot off Braden Holtby and guys like that. Garrett Sparks will play in the NHL somewhere. I'm just not sure where.
Yeah. You're watching RawMikeRichards.com either on the website or, of course, on the dedicated YouTube channel. Keep subscribing. We like that. We mentioned, obviously, the NHL entry draft. Well, of course, you've got the NBA draft, which is going to be very, very interesting. Ayton is one of the big names out of Arizona. But the big man, when you start talking about Mo Bamba from Texas, and I said beforehand, he's a shot blocker. Is he the next sort of big man in the NBA? Yeah, there's a lot to learn, especially with a big guy. But I happen to think that this guy with his wingspan, with what he's got, if you watch these highlights, and this will be property of NCAA and property of, I think, the Big 12 probably, get a load of what you see with Mo Bamba, because I can only imagine what it's like, not only trying to take a shot, but get a load of what it's like when he comes in. He's got agility. He's got pretty good feet. He's working on his 3 right now. The combines, the pro days, you've seen what he does. He is going to be heavily sought after, simply because the big guys now just don't hang around the rim. That game's kind of gone. They've gone to smaller ball, and your big guy has to be able to do these kinds of things. Does Mo Bamba do it all? Well, you be the judge, because I think he does.
Gravity is too high, and he's not strong enough yet to hold his position.
Oh.
That worked. Roach lobs it up. Hey, Bamba finishes again. Coleman, reverse, no. Bamba, offensive rebound, and a reverse layup. Coleman lobs it to Bamba.
Bamba's going to shoot a 3.
See, look at that. That's what I'm talking about.
Texas, they're 7 of 13.
But you see that move?
Bamba with the foul. Here's Roach. Bamba.
Oh, ouch.
Emphatically. 3.
See, look at the stroke for a guy that size.
Second most in the NCAA. And he's got a little follow ability too. Brown was looking for May Wayne. It goes back to Bamba. Steps into it. And another point.
Jada has the ball. Watch Sneed.
Oh, nice hesitation. Bamba is there. 2 hands for both teams. Coleman driving on Jada. Bamba fight for the rebound and the flush.
And that's, again, what you're going to see. So we'll take a look, obviously, at the draft. But when you see guys like that, I mean, how is that not attractive to those that would? I mean, I'm pulling the trigger on that.
Yeah, massive. It's a centerpiece of an offense, right? So it should be interesting. Where do you rank the NBA draft itself compared to the others?
Okay, so to me, NFL's 1.
Okay, agreed.
To me, NBA's 2.
Really? Because I got NHL too.
You got NHL.
I'm only because I'm an NHL guy, but but still,
No, of course, in college basketball, I'm only gambling every single night on schools that nobody's heard of. Like, how do you know who that player is? Because he screwed me. Can't take out Eastern Kentucky. What's the matter with you?
So where do you have MLS draft?
Do they, like some of them, it's like people, I love the CFL, but I think it's online, isn't it?
It's online, yeah. Yeah, that's online, and I think they do it on that network that does CFL once in a while.
It's really tough. I mean, again, if I watch CIS when I can, absolutely. I love all football. I watch high school football. I love it all. And for the most part, just because the CFL draft, it's really difficult. I mean, if you don't know the guy coming out of the Queens or Calgary or the Rouge or you name the university, it's kind of tough because really, for the most part, if they're really, really super good, they can go south of the border, or they've been in NCAA, and you're just not going to get a shot at them. You just don't get to see them.
Bingo.
A guy like Federkill all those years ago coming to Calgary goes down to the Colts. They turned him into an offensive lineman. I mean, it was a great story. But for the most part, if you're a CFL fan, you got to see the game.
Yep.
You get excited for preseason. Dave and I will both watch preseason, and of course we kick off another weekend coming up. It should be interesting.
Tonight it starts, actually. Thursday night football.
And I think the Ticats are probably going 0-2.
That's crazy.
I've got, let's see if I take a look at very
fire away.
briefly what I am taking in the CFL, but I do know that there's games that I like.
Okay.
And I like them a lot. So the Bombers number is now up to -3. I'm still taking it. Eskimos is below a touchdown. So I would get on that as soon as you can, because I really think that Hamilton, that's on the road to look at any league. In the NFL.
They didn't return home either, by the way.
Yeah.
They stayed in Alberta.
So there you are. You're 2 weeks on the road. I just, under a touchdown, I'd be taking the Eskimos. And I think both of those games, the Stampeders and the Argos and the Riders and the Red Blacks, 52 is the total in the Calgary game. I think that goes over because Toronto's 0-1. They got to play well. It's their home game.
Yep.
Calgary, they beat the Ticats, but they did not look great. They're especially the deeper ball. I think for Bo Levi Mitchell, they're still working on it. It's still a timing thing. So I think it comes together. Over 52 in the CFL. I'm taking it, and the number has dropped in the Riders versus the Red Blacks. It was 52. Now it's down to 50.5. I'm taking the over.
Interesting.
I got the over on that.
Do you have a feel for that game as far as, you're not necessarily betting it, but if Saskatchewan's in Ottawa tonight, which they are.
See, that's why I don't have a feel.
I'm not sure about that.
Because it's Zach Collaros. It's his second game, and he also, still trying to find his chemistry with his brand new teammates, and the Riders let a lot of well-known receivers go. There are a lot of new faces in there. So when you see that, to me, the offense is usually a little slower. But will they go over 52 like in the CFL? Each team scoring in around 26 points. I see that because the Red Blacks will be good. In fact, I would think probably a slight edge to the Red Blacks maybe in that game if you're taking the numbers. But I do like the over on that. What else did I want to get to? So of course the World Cup. Good luck betting on that. Oh my God, you're just pulling your hair out.
Well, we had another altercation this morning with somehow Australia tying Denmark.
The hell, Denmark?
I don't get it.
Danish just pissing me off because Schmeichel's almost impossible to score on, whether it's an international game where you're getting the cap or if he's playing in the Prem. Like, really hard to score on.
By the way,
penalty, because I was trying to figure out how these go. There's a penalty, by the way.
Yeah, penalty. Did you hear about the Burger King promotion in Russia that went...
Oh, no. A bad promotion?
Yeah, so...
A bad food promotion in Russia.
In Russia. Weird, I know. I didn't even know they had Burger King in Russia. So Burger King now says they're sorry for offering women a prize by getting pregnant by World Cup players. So if you missed it, the Russian division, and I do say Russian division of Burger King, took down their ad, which offered a lifetime supply of Whopper hamburgers, or Whopper burgers, whatever you want to say, to Russian women if they get pregnant with a World Cup player's baby. Burger King told the Associated Press that they were sorry, that they clearly, it was a clearly offensive promotion that the team in Russia had launched, and they do apologize, have removed it. I'm just wondering, so any of these women that did get pregnant by one of these players, how do you go prove that?
That's what I'm saying. So Olga goes in and she goes, "I'll be having burgers for the rest of my life.
Yes.
Here's little Yorgi or whatever."
Yeah.
And they go, "Well, how do we know you get pregnant from football player famous?" Well, I did. It was Ronaldo. Oh, okay.
You sound like the head of Burger King Russia.
Let's phone him up. Hello, Ronaldo. This is Sasha at Burger King, Moscow. Did you have sex with girl to have baby? Her name is Olga. Yes. Oh, okay, thank you.
Okay.
Yes.
There's your Whoppers for a lifetime.
Spasiba. Yeah. Do you want onions on your burger? What the fuck? That's worse than the Gleibermans. Their New Orleans night.
That is.
Their Mardi Gras night. Unbelievable. Great promotion, though.
There was some creativity behind that one.
Okay, I can also show you promotions here in Canada that do not go well. I've never seen this, and I got a buddy who's actually in this video. I'm pretty sure it's Beasley.
Oh, boy.
The Calgary Flames have a slingshot promo.
Oh, do they?
So they've got sort of like those tight bungee cord things that form like a slingshot. They pull it tight, the two guys on the ice. It goes around the person, sort of it looks like at the top of the face-off circle.
And it's bowling ball pins down the ice, right, that they have hit?
Well, they don't get far enough that we get to see the bowling pins.
Oh, okay.
Because they strap it on some chick. Again, It's probably not proper to the National Hockey League, but you don't care because you goon this every day anyway. But at the Saddle Dome, I think Beasley's making the announcement, whoever the the in-stadium guy is. Maybe Ken and company and Rolly. I don't know if this was your idea.
It probably wasn't.
You may want to rethink this one.
She is going to get that strike and get that opportunity.
There, they're pulling the cord nice and tight. Put her around her. There we go. Let her go. And she is down. She's down. Don't keep it running. Go back there, Devlin. Keep the. Oh, okay. Wow.
I was looking over. I wanted to see what that went. That went.
You want to see it again? Okay, let's see. We'll watch it again.
Face first.
Oh yeah.
Oof.
Yeah. No. Here we go. Let's watch it again. This is a mean show. Hey man, the family's going. Go, mommy, go. Mommy's gonna win. Oh no, she's not. Oh.
Dude laughing.
The people laughing. It's like the Coliseum and the Gladiators. That did not go well.
Yeah, you got when you wrap that, you're supposed to put that around the waist or lower.
Yeah, usually not the neck. Well, maybe she got a nice supply of free sandwiches from Spolumbo's.
Oh,
thanks.
See, now that would be worth it.
Yeah, thanks, Tony Spallettini.
I would take a face shot to the ice if I got a lifetime supply. Maybe the greatest sandwiches in Canada. Maybe in North America. I'm just trying to think of a better deli.
They're the size of your arm. Like, it's ridiculous.
Outstanding. And everything's fresh. Oh, delicious.
Yeah. Tony Spallettini, Mike Palumbo, therefore Spalumbo.
Yeah, it's about, I'm going to say, 8 minutes away from the Saddle Dome. Delicious.
Yeah, barely. Yeah.
We'd go there after every single practice, morning skate. I missed that. That's one of the first places I'd go to in Calgary if I was back there today. But anyway.
I've got one of your favorites here. Renee Rancourt.
Yes.
So
this
definitely
one of my favorites.
This goes back to 2015.
The retired one.
Yeah, he was a great one. I tell you. So there you were in Montreal in one of the previous games, and I guess the fans in Montreal booed the American national anthem.
Yeah, probably something was happening politically speaking. Not to say that we're condoning it.
You just don't do it. Nope. You just don't. We talked about trophies.
Yes.
And anthems. You just don't mess with that ever. Because you're going to get, and guess what? Even if you do, and it's an honest mistake, you're going to pay for it and get ready for it. Because it is the national pride. It is, that you have insulted, and so therefore get ready. So it goes back to Boston. Don Cherry had talked about it previously and saying, I don't think that the Boston fans will do the same. Well, they didn't. Renee Rancourt goes out, sings his heart out like he always. Because he loves singing the Canadian national anthem, and the people in Boston. Well, the response, you watch.
Class.
Oh, baby. Isn't that something?
Awesome.
Like, that is really cool.
Yeah, it's big time. Wow.
Okay, but
he does like singing it too. He's done it to us.
Oh yeah, right on the phone. Probably does it to friends. Now he's retired. He'll be doing it to everybody. So that's Boston being classy.
Yeah.
Being respectful.
Yes.
Now I'll show you the opposite. In 1987, they were a little heated against a game against the Jets.
Mm.
And Glenn Wesley.
Yeah, number 26.
Yeah, apparently they felt that he had done something, and it caused consternation amongst those in Boston. I would assume these are not the same people who are clapping and cheering for the Canadian national anthem.
This was in Boston.
This is in Boston.
Because I'm just looking at the jerseys. This is back in the day when home wore white.
That's correct, and therefore, as we saw. Issues with people on the playing field,
yep,
and players reacting. Well, in this case, it's the referee, and this is a classic from Boston. Was again property of the National Hockey League in 1987. Jets Bruins.
Greg Hogwood picking up some scraps.
Not happy.
Boston, Hogwood is out with Bork. And the question is, will we be able to complete it? There's a fan coming out on the ice. Oh,
boom.
He was hit by the linesman and belted into the boards. A fan looked as though he was going to go to McCrary, and Asseltine hit him.
And he had the full 1987 hairstyle, by the way, going on.
Tucked in sweater and everything.
Oh.
And Asseltine took him right
Hear the people in the crowd?
You would not see a hit like that in the NFL. How stupid
Ron
of the fan.
Asseltine is being congratulated for that.
And now too much debris is being thrown on the ice.
Here it comes in slow motion.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Fat, drunk, and stupid is no way to go through life, son.
Oh.
The left arm, head, shoulders, sternum, and portions of the rib cage are intact. Do not smoke in here. Thank you very much.
White sneakers.
Oh, yeah. That is, wow. That is something. So this, again, the issue of someone coming on to a playing field. It started when we talked about it last week and last game. BC Place. Mm-hmm. He is now, and our good friend Ryan MacArthur said, do you see he's got Preslar attorneys?
Something and associates, yeah.
Okay.
I don't get that.
Well, it's just typical of it. Always someone has to be responsible, and it's never the person who engaged it. That's
Bingo.
Today's society, Dave. It's not about what right and wrong is. It's about the everyone being treated with this ridiculous notion that no one can be wrong or someone's at fault. Like, it's just gone too far. So let me show you some examples. Let's go to I believe it. Do I have Australian rules football in here somewhere, Devlin? It's a rugby. It's a rugby streaker. Yeah, this is what is it? Almost Football Legends. Okay, so here's from Australia. A fully naked man running onto the field in a game where guys don't really want to see that, and once again, the players have decided that they will take their own action.
From the Northern Territory, we see the English backpacker streaking, and here's the Northern Territory runner.
Oh, then watch what he does, like an animal he
Picks
killed.
him up like the proverbial bag of spice.
That is awesome. Ooh.
I've never seen that one. Usually they just leave him on the ground.
And then picks him up like a gutted deer. That's outstanding. Notice the Australian announcer said, yeah, like an English backpacker. Nice. Boom. So there's one way of handling it. So I thought, okay, if I'm going to look at other sports, because, we've seen tons of football. And you've seen baseball, Dave. You've seen a lot of it. But I thought, seriously, cricket? A streaker in cricket. So the batsman, I think that's what he's called, looks at this guy who's coming, and he's coming right at him. Mm-hmm. But this was the wrong guy to do this to. Here is cricket. I don't know what league. I'd give you props, but I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. But I do know what happened, and it was a beauty. So they're waiting while this guy runs around.
It's taken him a while to...
Boom. Oh.
I don't know who's worse off.
Well, Simon was a bit unlucky. He went the wrong way. He was training with the Broncos for one pre-season, and I think occasionally goes back to top up his fitness. But that was the first tackle of the State of Origin.
You don't see a lot of tackles in that sport, and they mess with the wrong guy.
Oh, yeah.
So here's the example. So now you have, in Canada, this law firm from Toronto that's going to be representing this idiot who ran on the field. So a barrister who's talking about this incident. So this, to me, is a little bit of a precedence, and to me, does this not make sense, what this lawyer is saying?
I was trespassing there. There are problems associated with that.
If the player has deliberately gone out of his way to assault the streaker could certainly sue the player if he suffered some damage. But it would be difficult in this circumstance because he's the aggressor and he's the one that's entered upon the arena without permission.
I just think they're childish, immature. Pretty good way to treat him, I think.
The only guy that was in danger of being injured last night up in Brisbane was very definitely the streaker, because Andrew Simons is a pretty tough customer.
And there it is. So if I'm looking at it by definition, he said if he had gone after somebody, so vis-a-vis the Terry O'Reilly or an issue where someone has gone into the crowd, then you're gonna, I'm telling you, now you are the aggressor. You're the one who has crossed the line, and you could pay for it. But as he's saying, first of all, there was trespassing.
Yes.
Well, trespassing, as they say down there. And so, therefore, once you've entered that field of play, and for your own protection, he runs at him, he's full marks for being able to do that. And by the way, I would say 99.9% of the instances are guys normally hammered, or they've made a bet, and they've decided that literally they're going to break the law on purpose for one of those reasons. So I don't have any problem with a player reacting, especially in this day and age where we really don't know what someone has on them. Or let's be honest, and this is where we're living right now, a huge stadium, and all of a sudden you turn around and someone's running at you.
Bingo.
What do you think's going to happen? Are you going to run away? No, they're not wired. The athletes aren't wired that way. So whether it's a prank or you thought it was funny or you were drunk or it was a bet, you pay the piper. That's what you get. And if the franchise wants to ban you for life, if your company says to you, seriously, you're our chief accountant and now you're on national television doing that, you're fired. You're fired.
Yep.
So all those things, none of them goes through their heads. And now we're supposed to then sit back and say, well, the football player, he was in the wrong. No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't. So that's garbage to me. Garbage.
Yeah, I wonder what's going to happen with this, the CFL one, which probably should be thrown out of court within a matter of minutes. But obviously somebody's looking to capitalize here on something. But let's hope the right thing is done and done swiftly.
I hope they get. I'm sorry, law firm. Is it Breslar, whatever? You should be wiped out. Wiped out. Because this is not a maybe you feel you make a name for yourself, but like the barrister said in Australia, it's not about someone going that over the fence, someone going in terms of purposefully going into the stands to cause damage. It's the other way around, so you don't get off.
Right.
You know, Dave, it's like that same thinking with that law, and this always drives me nuts, where someone breaks into someone's house and they do something to protect their family, and then there are charges put against the guy protecting his family. Are you serious?
I don't get that for the life of me. I know.
And this is the same thinking with that.
No, you're right. You're right.
Yeah. So if the guy has a spinal injury or a concussion or can't walk anymore, might have wanted to think about that before you broke the law, because trust me, it is a law.
Bingo.
David, as you said the other day, in the States, I know that they start broadcasting before the game starts every rule they got in the stadium, including drunkenness, making noise in the press box. They say the whole spiel.
They say it over the intercom throughout the building, the arena, the stadium. It's written on the back of a ticket. It's posted all over the stadium on the wall, and rules and regulation, what is allowed and so forth, and obviously what isn't. So leagues and franchises protect themselves. I just don't see how anybody would sit there and say, this is a good idea, we should represent this guy.
Yeah.
I just don't get that.
No, and I think it's bad form.
Yeah.
So in the words of a wrestler, I'm not sure who came up with this.
Probably a good one. What is it?
Suck it.
Yeah, it's Degeneration X.
There you go. What? Suck it.
Just become best friends? Yep.
Yeah, we did. We just did.
You want to go do karate in the garage? Yep.
Yeah, I do, but I'll sue you if you, even though I knowingly went into it, and then just we got to get things back on the rails. I just don't know if we can. Have yourself a great weekend. This is going to be a long weekend for us, and a big hand for Devlin.
Yeah.
Devlin Karnowski, I believe his last name is.
Is it Devin or Devlin?
I don't.
Because I always thought it was Devin.
It's Devin.
He said it's Frank.
Thanks, Frank. You did a great job. Considering the studio's been in shambles every single day, stuff missing, and he still made it go.
No kidding.
Yeah, awesome job.
Gong show.
Yeah. Have yourself a great day and a great weekend. We will be back on Monday. We think.